At ease, brothers. I am soul. The path to enlightenment is a solo trip. The path to enlightenment is a solo trip, brothers. What do you mean, soul? Well, most people were either raised in or are still active in the church, right? And I'll be honest, man, like I make comments about the church sometime, man, but I would be lying if I didn't say that the church inspired me to be a better man, you know? Like the songs that I heard growing up, some of the sermons that I heard, I would be lying if I said they didn't put me in position to be more spiritually aligned, right? Even when I converted to Islam, like going to Jumu'ah and praying, with my brothers, man, shoulder to shoulder. That was enlightening, man. Hearing some of the surahs being recited, that was enlightening. And I would be lying to say that didn't help me, further along down my spiritual journey. Even the power circle, man. You hear me talk about the power circle all the time. Like there's nothing like fellowshipping with my brothers on a weekly basis. Like there is no greater high on this planet. But at the same time, I understand the members of the power circle understand that to get to the deepest levels of enlightenment, to get to the deepest levels of understanding, brothers, that is a solo trip. That is a trip that you must take on your own accord, man. That is a trip that you must take by yourself. You know what I'm saying? At some point, just straight fellowship is not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. In other words, going to church and hearing about Adam and Eve and hearing about, Solomon's temple and hearing about the conversion of Paul and hearing about the disciples. At some point, brothers, that's not going to be enough. At some point, you're going to want something more than that. Something inside of you is going to crave something deeper than that. At some point, going to Jumu'ah and hearing about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is not going to be enough. At some point, just fellowshipping in a circle full of good brothers is not going to be enough, man. You're gonna start craving deeper levels of understanding. Some of us, and I'm telling you, man, that trip, that's a trip that you can't take with anyone else. That's a trip that you must take solo. And to be honest, it's not always about just finding deeper levels of understanding. Sometimes it's about just coming out of levels of stagnation. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you may find yourself needing to lose weight, saying, you know what, I've been plateaued at 250 pounds for 6 months, for 2 years, and I just can't get out of that. Like there's something about me, there's something in my mind, there's something in my spirit that I have to tap deeper into, and you have to just separate and go deeper to come out of that level of stagnation. Some of you, it could be starting a business. Man, I know so many people, man, that have business ideas wrote down in journals, that have business plans together, that have ideas, that have books written on paper that aren't published, and you're still stagnant. And you're saying to yourself, man, like it's just something in me, like I have to go deeper. Like I have to remove myself from this world. I have to travel down this road to find out what's going on inside of me. For some, it's simply self-development. Some of you are 40 years old, 50 years old, right? And you're saying, you know what? My mentality is no different than when I was 30, no different than when I was 20, no different than when I was 12. Like I still think the same way. And you say, you know what, man? It's time for me to start developing more as a human, to start developing more as an adult. And I'm telling you, man, a lot of times it's just a matter of you separating and going down that path. But I'm telling you, brothers, that path to get all these answers that we look for, it's a solo trip. To get these deeper answers, you won't find it in a church. You won't find it in a book. You won't find it in a circle of friends. It's a solo trip within, brothers. But the thing I ask myself, I'll say, well, why don't most people travel this path, right? Like what keeps people from going down that road? Two things, right? The first one is fear. Because you have to understand, man, that going down this road is lonely. It's very lonely. It's very cold. And I'm telling you, just the way the world is programmed now. A lot of people can't even stand to be in a room by themselves. You know, that's why people can't drive their cars without XM radio on. That's why people can't walk inside their home sometimes with no television on. It's hard for some people to even just sit in a room with nothing playing because that's a lonely place, man. So the reason why a lot of people don't travel that road is because it's dark and lonely. You know what I'm saying? I can remember, like when I grew up as a child, man, like my neighborhood, you know, it consisted of several houses side by side, right? And the thing is, the road that these houses were on, at some point the houses just stopped, but the road kept going. And the road kept going and kind of went downhill and it kind of just went off into the trees, man, you know. And I remember we were young, brother. We would ride our bikes, man. We would play games, play basketball. We would do all the things on the street. But once we got to that last house, it was like we all just stopped. If you were riding your bike by yourself, man, you got to that point, you just stopped. Even though there was much more road. And we called that place the end, right? It was just a dark, cold place. And the only time you went to the end is if all of us was there. You know what I'm saying? That's the only time we went to this dark spot, man. And that's how this world is. That's how tapping into that deeper level of spirituality is, man. It's like you see that road, but it's the unknown that keeps us from going down there. It's the need of wanting us to have somebody to travel it with us. And I'm telling you, this place I'm talking about, you must travel it alone, man. So fear, man. And another thing is, a lot of people are scared to go against the grain, right? Because you got to understand, like, you know, say for example, it's spirituality, you know, you're just trying to get a better understanding of, you know, and you're going to church, you're going to Juma or whatever. And your mindset is starting to be different than what you're hearing on Sundays or Fridays, right? You know, going against the grain of what you've always known or what you've always been taught, of what mom and daddy taught you. That's a scary thing. Knowing that your new mindset can be a conflict with everybody and everything you know. A lot of people aren't built for that, man. A lot of people don't have enough courage to stand on an island by themselves if they have to, just to believe what they want to believe, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say it again. A lot of people are scared to stand on an island by themselves, having their own thoughts. You know. A lot of people are scared to disrespect mama and them, daddy and them's teachings, just to stand on their own beliefs, man. So going against the grain, brothers, a lot of people aren't built for that. And the second reason why people don't travel this path, brother, is separation. It's separation. Going back to church, going back to Jumu'ah. You know, at least when I was growing up, man, if you missed a Sunday, if you missed 2 or 3 Sundays in a row, then at some point, you know, pastor gonna call you, deacon gonna call you, you know, deaconess, whatever the ladies, they're gonna give you a call and be like, hey, you know, we just checking on you, you know. And a lot of people, you know, they don't understand that, you know, sometimes when you go down this path, it's gonna cause you to separate. You're gonna say, you know what, man, I've been hearing all this stuff, like I'm hearing something new now. Let me separate. And a lot of people aren't comfortable with that separation, man. Even when it comes to like certain habits you have. If you've been going out with your friends, y'all hitting the bar, y'all hitting the, you know, the strip club, whatever y'all doing, right? A lot of you brothers aren't built for that separation. Like when your partner's calling you up and they saying, oh man, well you know, you used to hang with your boys and they try to put this guilt trip on you. You know, a lot of people aren't, you know, can't take that peer pressure or whatever people call it now, man. And it'll end up pulling you back in, right? So separation, relationships. A lot of people don't travel that path because of relationships. You know what I'm saying? This is the thing. Like a lot of people don't understand that like when I say you have to travel this road alone, like I don't care if you have wife, husband, kids, mother, father, all close knit in your life. Brother, at some point in your mind and your heart, you're going to have to separate yourself from all this stuff. And a lot of times a man or woman can't separate themselves from their partner to travel that road alone. At the same time, you have to understand that if you're in that situation, your partner has to understand that when you travel that path, it must be alone. And I'm telling you, if you have a partner that say, you know, if you're telling your partner like, hey, you know what, like, babe, like I know we've been going out hanging at the club. I know we've been doing all this stuff, but just for a little bit, I got to separate myself from everything and kind of just go a little deeper. Like I'm stagnant in this area. I got to go a little deeper. Like I'm seeking levels of understanding. I gotta gotta go a little deeper. If she or he is coming at you saying, "Oh, well, you've always had time to do that," and yada yada yada, and you know, I still want, you know, I'm telling you, brothers, that's a red flag. That's a person you don't need in your life, man. If a person in your life doesn't understand that, hey, sometimes I gotta take a solo trip on a spiritual level, on a mental level, and separate myself from things, brother, it's a red flag, man. It's a red flag, brother. Read this. This is in the book, man, Oneness. My brother DG Mindset put me on this book a few months ago. Book called Oneness by Rasha, right? And it says this. It says, as you begin to release the constraints that bind you to circumstances you have outgrown, you will discover that the direction of choice is found on a road you must travel alone. As you gather the fragments of the structure that crumbles around you, and as you cease trying to make sense of it, you will come to embrace the peace of knowing that the struggle is, at last, coming to an end, brother. I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you, these answers we're seeking, they're on the path that you must travel alone, brothers. All the answers you're seeking are on this path that you must travel alone, right? You know, and the thing is, you know, I talk about my grandmother all the time, man. And like the reason why my grandmother is like by far the most important person that I'm sure that my path have ever crossed, like the most important person to me, is because she told me about this path long time ago. I'm talking when I was, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like she was telling me about this place. And she was describing it in several different ways. You know, she gave me different Bible verses. She went to Psalms, she went to Proverbs, she went to, certain messages that the prophet was speaking about. She was telling me about this place, man. It's like she almost knew that at some point in time that this stuff that she was drilling in my mind would come into play. Man. So that, and the thing is, even though I knew about this place, I still did the same thing everybody else did. I still looked for life's answers in things, people, and places, and all that stuff. I was always like, if I can just get the, a certain vehicle, then man, this fulfillment, these answers that, about life that I want will be fulfilled. If I can just get, these certain people in my life, if I can get this fine shorty, if I can just rub elbows with these brothers, like, man, I'll be in good position. If I can just get the shiny belt, I'll be in good position. And this fulfillment that I'm seeking it'll come into play, brother. But I'm telling you, but it's not in these things. It's not in these things, man. It's a spiritual journey that a man must take, man. A spiritual journey that a man must take. I'm telling you, brothers, the path to enlightenment is a solo trip.